He was, I think, Russian Armenian. Hey now. It's not for kids, but it's not for adults either. You get what I'm saying, Raleigh? Okay, I think we're live. We are live. Okay, sending you the link, and then I'm going to push this out. Okay, here we go. All right. I'm going to close Chrome. Quit Chrome. Oh yeah, wait, we determined that the YouTube app is not really good for I'll just open Chrome again. Oh, Brave browser. I'm gonna use Brave. Okay, and then I'm gonna push it out on my phone. Oh, is that the Hugel? The Huel?
Can you see it? Yes.
My bad. Sorry, I had the window in front. I got it. I see it. I see it. What is it just like salted? Is there a little bit of spice in it?
Yeah, there's some spice.
Okay.
It's like pasta, I guess. Little macaroni like pasta.
Pasta. Wait a minute. Come on, that's cheating. I mean, is it like quinoa? Like is it like a some sort of low carb thingy?
It doesn't say that anywhere. All it says is 25 grams of protein per cup, 27 vitamins and minerals, 6 grams of fiber. It's got all the ingredients, but I don't really know if reading that
Wait,
is
how
a
many carbs? I missed the carbs. You said the fiber. It didn't say anything about carbs.
yeah, it doesn't say anything about carbohydrates. Oh, total carbs 52 grams. Oh, that's a lot.
That's a lot, dude. You got my red flag going up there.
No wonder I like this so much.
Okay, and then look at this. Here's a bug. When you share it from YouTube, dude, it like cuts off the text, man. These people, dude, the software. Okay, so I use Buffer as a go-between, and then it doesn't cut it off, and then I can copy paste that. There we go.
You see how the gaming forum, that thing is staying there right now?
Yeah.
Whenever I zoom in the mornings, it goes away after a while.
You're you're not talking about immersive. You're talking about this view. Is it there because your mouse? Is it my mouse is over it? I moved my mouse. Is your mouse over it by any chance?
No, my mouse isn't over it right now.
I was thinking, should we just have our signs in the background? Like literally, like, well, let's see. The problem with the green screen is you can't really do that either.
Do you have a green screen?
No, no. I mean, by doing this background replacement thing, like we could manually have our captions, like our Dizzle 408 and the gaming forum, but like a hard, like an actual sign, but that might be lame too. Do we want to add the invite link to this? I guess it's my own thing. Let me look at the host tools. Allow participants to, well, okay, right now I'm not doing anything like that. Enable waiting room. I'm unchecking unmute, so okay, and then I'm unchecking start video. Or do you think that's stupid, right? That's like we're getting into wrong territory. We don't need to invite people in. Okay. We're not trying to do that sort of thing. Okay. All right. Let's get some. You're petting Polly Pocket, right?
Oh yeah, can you see? Oh, you can see her.
Oh, Polly Pocket.
I'm also scratching myself. Like right now, I'm scratching myself because I've got chronic hives.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I just took an allergy pill.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. See, carnivore and ferments free. That I think that Sean Amara. I mean that meeting, that Zoom meeting he has, that's gonna be good. I mean, it's free. You're getting an MD. Like, anyways, before I get too deep into it, let's start off with whoever. Let's see.
Hang on, I gotta get my phone. I'll be right back. Holly, you always jump. Stay down.
You know, we can send people the join link privately. I'm gonna send it to Lou Valentina. That would be cool if we actually get him on. The man himself. What happened? I can't see it. Oh, let me just go to immersive. My safe space. Is there a two-person immersive? No. 4 is the
Yeah, there is. There's a one by the fireplace that's two people.
no. I mean immersive with a backdrop. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter, does it? I'm such an idiot. I keep thinking it has to have the screen in the background. Lame. Okay, so, and I'm gonna send this to, I'm gonna DM this to our man, our brother Lou Valentino, brother from another mother. Dude, I hate this. Where's the freaking invite link? Let me stop sharing. That's so annoying. Participants, invite. So you click on participants and then there's an invite. God, dude. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but still. Okay. Golly, dude. Golly gee whiz, Mr. Science. Golly gee whiz, Mr. Science. You know what? I should join from the phone and then I can share that way and free up some resources because running Chrome and Brave is. I also got to make Chrome load with a blank page. My buddy's.
You using a VPN?
No. I don't mess with that. We're not. I'm not in Luke's situation. Luke, is it Luke? China?
Yeah, he's in China.
It's Luke, right? I'm not.
It is Luke.
Okay.
Luke Spadley or Spadley.
Yeah, my buddy's dad would be like, I don't want any launch page. Like when Netscape back in the day opened up, he's like, make it blank. And you know what? He had a point because now when Google loads and it's trying to load like the weather link, it's always delayed. It's just one more thing to load, right? Okay, I guess I'll start playing and then I'll invite Lou.
That's why they never put ads on there. Google has never once put ads on their main Google search.
Yeah, we just got some big breaking news.
My bad. Sorry.
And the reason they claim they don't is because they say it will slow it down.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh yeah, we just got some big breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, and the fight against activist judges has now come to an end as the Supreme Court has officially finally stepped in, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the Supreme Court has legitimately taken its time, sweet time, as chaos has erupted. Liberals and the progressives are fighting for criminals to come back into the United States from El Salvador, especially folks who are being detained by ICE and shipped out of the country who are not citizens. So that's been the fight. The fight has been that a lot of liberals and activist judges are fighting for these guys to get due process in the United States of America, even though they are not themselves American citizens. Now, the Supreme Court sides with the Trump administration. This is huge news, right? This will allow them to continue removing Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang members from the country under the Alien Enemies Act. This is the Alien Enemies Act that, again, many activist judges have come out against and said that this is too old to be used. Meanwhile, we still used the oldest of them all, which is the Constitution, Bill of Rights. But again, here's the court order. This is huge news, guys, because again, this was a huge worry around the country, and activist judges were becoming tyrannical, and we were waiting to hear back from, of course, the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And here it is. So you guys can read it, right? Per curiam. This matter concerns the detention and removal of Venezuelan nationals believed to be members of Tren de Agua, the entity that the State Department has designated as a foreign terrorist organization. Remember, Trump also designated these guys as foreign terrorists invading the country. So again, this is what TDA has become. Again, many liberals arguing on behalf of them. We got some news from coming in from Fox. Let's take a listen.
We get a lot of the White House there. We're getting some breaking news at this hour coming out of the Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court has handed President Trump a victory, letting him and his administration use the 1798 law that historically has been employed only in wartime to swiftly deport alleged Venezuelan gang members as part of the Republican president's hardline approach to immigration, granting that administration request to lift the Washington-based U.S. judge James Boasberg's March 15th order that had temporarily blocked the summary deportations under the Alien Enemies Act while litigation in the case continues. So the Supreme Court has weighed in. Let's start there with our panel. Let's bring in our panel. Susan Page, Washington bureau chief at USA Today, Washington Post columnist, American Enterprise Institute senior fellow Mark Thiessen, and Sabrina Singh, former Pentagon deputy press secretary. Mark, we assumed the Supreme Court was going to get active here soon on some of these cases. This seems like the first, and they're saying not only a pause to bring back that one man that they say they deported erroneously, but this is just allowing them to continue their deportation process.
Yeah, this is a big victory for Trump in the new lawfare. So the old lawfare was try to destroy Donald Trump, 91 indictments, 2 impeachments, civil suits to destroy him, and all the rest of it.
He called it the new lawfare. Yeah, he's right. He's not wrong about this. This is the new way of going after Trump. As long as Trump is alive, which pretty sure it'll be many more years to come, there was a way that they tried to get him, which is what he's mentioned here, which is, through lawfare, trying to arrest him, trying to take away his assets. That failed completely. The American people voted for Trump to become president. Then Trump becomes president, and now the new lawfare is activist judges ruling against him and the agenda that his administration has. And now it's all backfiring. Literally, it's now we're watching what it looks like for that to also backfire. Crazy.
That all failed. He won the election and came back stronger than ever. And so the new lawfare is to try and stop him from implementing his agenda through a miasma of court cases. And this was a perfect example of it. And the Supreme Court is now allowing him to use this law. So this is a first victory in the fight against the new lawfare.
So again, calling it the new lawfare. Look, as you guys are watching this, what would you call it? Because we're watching, district judges and, these judges as a whole come down on ruling against the Trump administration's efforts to deport people who obviously in the last 4 years have came into this country not only illegally, but they have records that are like incomprehensible, right? Like these records that they have back home are there. Look, these guys, bro. You saw what happened with Laken Riley, with the young lady also in Texas, the young lady in the Carolinas. I mean, there was a lot of things that they did that already made you say, "Whoa!" But also the fact that these gangs are here, and then working with El Salvador as well. The United States is. Speaking of El Salvador, we did get breaking news earlier today, right, where there was a victory from the Supreme Court again, and a victory for the Trump administration. Today, the Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, finally he does something, has paused a lower court, right? A lower court order to immediately return Kilmar Abrego Garcia from El Salvador into the United States. So lower courts are stepping in and ordering that the Trump administration bring back criminals into the. It's not a joke. Like, this is what's happening. Like, again, like, I know it sounds crazy. Like, yeah, like you're making this. I'm not making this up. This is what they're ruling. So then Justice Chief Roberts has come down and finally has done something of common sense, in my opinion, when it comes to, you know, everything that's kind of happening, right? When it comes to lower court stepping in, of course, you heard Judge Boasberg be ruled against now by the highest court on the land, which is the Supreme Court, of course. And again, that was a man who many liberals tried to say that he was from the United States of America, but he was not a legal resident of the United States of America. He was actually from El Salvador. But again, they're coming out and saying that he was illegally deported. But Justice Chief Roberts says, no, he wasn't. He actually is from El Salvador. So again, all these cases, you go one by one. Yeah, if a United States citizen gets deported, then I think we're in very huge trouble. And I think that as Americans, we got to speak out on that. But that's not the case here. And I know that, you know, liberals want to come out and make it seem like that's the case, like, oh, American citizens are going to start being deported. If a Hispanic American gets deported, I can promise you, and I can make this promise now, because I know white conservatives the way they are. They would stop caring about Trump. They will fight for dear life to make sure that that American citizen that got deported comes back to the United States of America, American citizen, right? But it seems like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the white conservative does not care, and maybe conservatives as a whole, maybe Trump supporters to say, "F it, get them out of here." But I know that they will be the first ones to call it out and say that was wrong, and that's a start of something that we don't want. But that's not what's happening here, even though that's exactly what white liberals are trying to make you think, because that's what's really going on here, right? What's going on here is the white liberal boomers and the white liberal progressives are coming out and saying that they're trying to leverage the Trump administration by defending these guys who are in gangs that are not good people at all. And then they're trying to leverage that by saying that Hispanics are sellouts and all these people are selling themselves out for this country, when in reality, we're from this country and we're trying to defend this country from people that we probably already ran away from, them being people that are from South America or Central America, that being the case. I'm not. I'm from Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic. That's where my family comes from. But I was born and raised my whole entire life. And so has my family for generations in America. That's why I love the United States of America. So again, they're trying to tie in. This is what they do in Black America as well. They're trying to tie in those minority minorities as a whole, but that mentality for coming from the white liberal is like, oh, you guys should care about this because it's your people being deported and it's your people, and they're trying to emotionally attach you to something that doesn't even exist to begin with. I know I'm going all over the place, but some of you guys, and I'm pretty sure many of you guys are going to understand what I'm saying here. So the fact that the Supreme Court is stepping in for this, it's actually huge. And I think it is a step in the right direction. But again, if you hear white liberals crying that, oh my God, a actual citizen from the United States of America was deported, and the Supreme Court has also ruled that the deportation of an American citizen is to stay, then we're in huge trouble. And I'm pretty sure everybody watching this would agree to that, but that's not what's happening. And we got to keep it real. We have to keep it 1,000% real. So there's the breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know how you guys feel about this. Again, activist judges taking a huge L here. trying to stop. And again, as the man on Fox News mentioned, if you got his name, somebody please say his name. He did say this is the new lawfare, and I
Brett
could
Baer.
not agree more.
That's
I
his
cannot agree
name,
more.
Brett Baer.
You guys have the next one. Smash the like button.
All right. Okay. Dude, I'm trying to edit this stream on my phone on studio.youtube, and I don't know how to edit it. I should be able to edit the title, right? I mean, I guess I can open up Chrome, but I was trying to avoid that.
Edit the title where?
Like, shouldn't this be on my page in my content? Where's the content section?
Are you on the YouTube Studio app?
Not
Are
the app. I'm on the phone, the web. I tried using the app, and the app was not allowing me to edit the title either.
Are you wanting to edit the title of the video?
Yes.
Go to content,
Yes.
click on the video, and
I
then
can't find it. Why can't I? It's like maybe it's sorting it.
no, it should be the first one. It should be the one at the go to live. So they're not all the videos.
Oh, there it is. It came up. It came up. It came up. I should have clicked refresh. Okay. I was acting all in a tizzy there, right? You're like, geez, Dizzle, chill out, man. It's because, again, this inconsistency. Lionel Nation is Lionel Media on YouTube. And so I'm like, dude.
Your parents engage in recreation?
No, not at all.
See, mine do. Well, not my mother.
Your dad? Well, that probably... Oh, what happened? Hello?
I can hear you just fine.
Dude, my Zoom window. Okay, let's just stop sharing. Oh, freaking Chrome, dude. I really need to stop this search thing. It just opened. I told you like 5 minutes ago I had clicked on it. Okay. So your dad, yeah, that can't
What's
be
on
helped.
your computer?
Well, it's also I gotta blank out the loading.
Sometimes my dad, like back before my dad's Alzheimer's got really bad, he would get a hankering for just a bunch of.
If you spend any
Oh.
time today trying to figure out,
Sorry about
That's Lionel Nation. I can tell by that Brooklyn, New
That's
York,
right.
whiny. He sounds like Woody Allen.
That's right.
If you want to talk today about
I'm gonna.
Raul, why don't we go to
It's like my old boss, dude. Oh my god, dude. So funny. Okay, I'm inviting him. I know he's never gonna. You're like, dude, he's never gonna. But hey, you never know. Actually, I think he might be live.
Lionel Nation.
Is he live right now?
Does it say live?
No, he just finished up. So this is fun. So he can come on and review his show with us. That's kind of fun.
Lionel Nation?
Lionel Media.
Like, I don't know who you're inviting. You don't ever say. You just go, should I invite him? Should I invite him?
Yeah. I mean, Lionel, join us. Okay. And then I was trying to send him the freaking
That old man doesn't know how to use TikTok. Are you
Zoom. We're using Zoom, not TikTok.
He probably doesn't even have Zoom. He's probably like, Zoom? Zoom what?
No,
I'm already zoomed in.
why did you say TikTok though?
Because aren't you communicating through TikTok to him?
X.
Oh, well,
I'm not on
X,
TikTok.
it's all the
TikTok.
same to me.
No, they're all the same. They're all the same.
Yeah, I got Lionel Nation in me. They're all the same. All the same.
You're hilarious, dude. Okay, here we go, man. I love this, dude. You know this is the easiest thing. Basically, what would we would be doing? Watching YouTube. Now we're just sharing it out there.
My name's Woody Allen. I like minors.
I didn't oh gosh, I didn't click the share sound button. But I don't have to, right? I mean, it's been working fine.
To me, it has. I haven't had an issue with it, but
Oh, no, you know what? Let me do that because then I can mute myself and you'll still be able to hear it. So that's a good practice. So let me share it and share the sound.
But neither one of your parents do people in is it taboo in the motherland?
No. Okay, let me see. Oh, dude. Okay, you ready for this one? Let me see if I can do it. Oh, my dad's calling me. Hold on.
He calls you.
Papa. Yeah, they're downstairs. Yes. Oh, the bag. Yeah. It's in the garage, on the chair in the garage.
Okay.
Okay. Dude,
Interrupted news hour, the debate with Arnab Goswami.
yeah, I told him about that. That was funny. Oh my God, total brain fart. Okay, what
Did he
happened?
think I was from India?
Well, he was curious. Oh, and then today my mom's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Raleigh." She's like, "Boy or girl?" I'm like, "Boy, maybe." It's yeah. Oh, dude. They used to
I
think,
like your mom already.
dude, they used to think I was, and my sister's like, "No, I'm pretty sure he's straight, mommy." And then it didn't help that. Well, and then I proved them all wrong with the kiddo. So, okay, you are now screen sharing. Why is there a timer? Oh, you got that on?
Who's the Rocket Man? Elton John. He's got kids.
No.
He does. I swear to God, Elton John has children.
Okay, whatever. All right, so I'm gonna test playing this and muting myself. So first
With
of
a
all,
woman. Well, I mean, I guess you kind of have to have children with a woman, but
you're
like,
hilarious, dude.
no science involved is what I mean.
If you spend any time today trying to figure out what is happening regarding the world of tariffs, you wasted your time because I don't know. It's the same thing over and over again. I don't know. Which side do you like? You like that side or you like that side? You want to hear that guy? Or do you like that guy? You want to hear CNN and Trump's a jerk, or do you want to watch this? You want to watch Rand Paul? Do you want to watch Bill Ackman? Which guy do you like? Not what truth do you like? Which guy do you like? Which person do you like? Which channel do you like? It has nothing to do with reality. It has nothing to do with reality. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. It blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. And what's also more important than anything else, what I find fascinating, really, really, truly fascinating, more than anything else, is the idea that, and this is important for you to understand, we are no closer today than ever in finding out what this is about. Now, let me take you through this and let me give you a couple of things. First of all, you,
It froze. He actually kind of looks funny like this.
Friedman, peace over.
Your screen
I
sharing
can
is
do that.
paused.
Would
Why
you
did
like
it
me to
pause?
do that? Would you like me to do that? I can play that again for you. We have a Ronald Reagan one today. I got clips to confuse you. When we get done this evening, you are going to be so confused. So confused. You're going to wonder, what am I talking about? What's going on here? That's exactly right. Because remember, no matter what the truth is, no matter what they say about about Trump, you're not going to hear anything good if he solves everything. If he does something which is so inane and colossal that he doesn't, I don't even know how to say this, that he doesn't even, if he is Jesus Christ Almighty without being blasphemous and does something so incredible by changing bankrupting China or having them beg for forgiveness, whatever he does, the left will never acknowledge it. You do understand that, right? Do you understand that? The left is never going to acknowledge it. So we've got stuff for you tonight that is so interesting. And it'll go to show you how everything is nuts. Now, what I want you to do, dear friends, is simply this. I want you, first of all, to hit the like button. The like button is our way. It is the most important thing in the world. It is our HOV lane. It puts us into a new category so that other people will say, hey, I like that guy. I'm gonna listen to that guy. And those gals and guys of their Lionel Nation show.
6% in 2021.
Hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And also make sure you are subscribed. Subscribe. For reasons I will never know, 80-something% of the people who watch us repeatedly don't subscribe.
Pause it.
So
for a
before
second.
we get down to business, now we are going to have some kind of
Hang on, I want to share something.
All right.
So on this note that he's talking about, upper income households own approximately 87% own stocks. Middle income households approximately 65% own stocks. Lower income households approximately 25% participate in the stock market. So 1 in 4 participate.
So he gets points, right? Credit to Lionel Nation.
Well, my point is that poor people don't give a shit about this.
Exactly.
They would rather just have the jobs.
Yep. Well said.
I think I own stocks through like my thrift savings plan. But I mean, I'm not taking it out anytime soon. I can't take it out till I'm 50 without penalty.
You know, the workers complain about that because they would end up in emergency situations. They needed their money, and they would say to the city, hey, give me an advance on my retirement fund or whatever. And the city's like, no, we're holding it for your safekeeping. And they're like, motherfucker, I need that now. Like, this is that moment,
Yeah, the shit's hit the fan. I need my savings.
Okay, I'm
People complain about it where I am too sometimes. Rarely, but they do complain about it.
okay. So remember, I got to make steaks and do the cleaning. So I'm gonna go to avatar mode in a bit. Should I resume it?
Yes, resume, please.
Oh, hey, can I do the speed up or does that mess it up?
Do the speed up, but then lower the resolution.
Yeah, that hey, great minds think alike. What do you think? 480p or 720?
No, I'd go 360.
Yeah, it's just talk, right? We don't really need high res.
We really don't.
listen to this very, very critical word, which probably is more important now than ever rated obligations.
Yeah, great. Okay, thank you, Lionel.
but only
Did you see this? Oh, this was big today.
was tariffs on foreign imports. It looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets.
Who believes
Then,
this?
while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade barriers, and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to
They're
Washington
making them
to
read
spare
it.
the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity. Now, it hasn't always been easy. There are those in the Congress, just as there were back in the 30s, who want to go for the quick political advantage, who will risk America's prosperity for the sake of a short-term appeal to some special interest group.
Well, you see, that's the problem. A lot of people are suggesting that, and this is important, they're suggesting that, when Ronald Reagan was doing that neoliberal thing, maybe things weren't as good as I thought. Maybe it could have been even better. Maybe. If he had done a better job, we wouldn't have outsourced all of our stuff. elsewhere. Now, you and I, remember, you want to argue the point? You want to argue Reaganomics now? I don't. Do you want to? I don't. I really don't. I don't. And you don't either. You don't. So let's also think back a little bit as well. You see, there were these other people who said, we've got to do something about China. And you know what the EU was doing? They're already doing 0 for 0 tariffs. Already. Imaginary value of their money is the problem. One of the things, Hillbilly, that you must understand is the notion of what money is. Whether it's, remember this, is it a fiat currency? Is it Keynesian Bank Corp? What we go into this? Is it crypto virtual currency? Oh dear God, don't do that. Anyway, that's what he said. Remember Chuck Schumer? Chuck Schumer was furious. Oh my God, what happened? There we go. Chuck Schumer. There we go. Chuck Schumer was furious with President Trump for not protecting us enough from China. See, China gets people's attention. Remember Chuck when he said this?
I'd like to see him explain his decision to the thousands of steelworkers whose jobs are on the line because their companies aren't competing on a level playing field because China repeatedly subsidizes, doesn't play by the rules, and cheats.
Yeah.
It's another classic example of the Trump administration promising one thing but doing another. President Trump has promised many times to crack down on China, and still 10 months into his administration, his Commerce Secretary is once again needlessly delaying a preliminary step in that effort.
That's right.
Every time I see Secretary Ross, I've known him for 30 years, he's a New Yorker like I am. I say to him, when are we going to do something on China? Oh, we're going to do something tough.
See?
And each time there's a different excuse. This should have happened in the first 2 months of the administration. It hasn't.
That's right, Chuck.
So,
He listened to you,
because of the
Chuck.
Republican inaction, because of the president's unfulfilled and rapidly becoming broken promise.
What was that?
Oh, I was just commenting.
No, yeah, say it again.
Chuck, did you hear listening to what Chuck Schumer is saying?
Oh, right, exactly. You know, they're all two-faced, right? They say something sometime and then they go the opposite.
Yeah. Basically, Chuck Schumer was just criticizing Trump for not doing exactly what he's doing now.
Isn't it interesting? So Lionel does capture some of the stuff that gets, because like the quote unquote textbook conservatives, right? If they're anti-tariff, then they're going to totally tune all this out, right? All right. Anyways.
Listen.
On being tough with China,
Listen.
Senate Democrats will be sending a letter to President Trump and Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross demanding that the administration keep its promise to crack down on China's unfair and predatory trade practices. Now, one more thing on China. Today I read Tesla, our great car manufacturing company, will be relocating to China.
What?
When you want to sell cars or many other advanced products in China, you have to do one of two things. Set up a joint ownership company which lets them steal our intellectual property or face huge tariffs. That's based on the fact that the WTO was poorly negotiated and China was regarded as a developing country.
That's right.
That was the fault of President Bush and President Obama. Neither did enough to stop China. Based on his campaign rhetoric, you'd think President Trump would be tougher as China steals our family jewels. It's no longer clothing and furniture.
Family jewels. Oh my God.
It's our best industries. They steal our intellectual property by these joint ventures. Sometimes they do it by cyber theft. A lot of times they do it by cyber theft.
There's nobody in the Senate.
And it's hurting the good paying jobs that might be available to our children and grandchildren.
Doesn't that sound great?
Based on campaign rhetoric, you'd think President Trump would be tougher on China. But so far, it's been a lot of talk and not very much action.
What about now, Chuck? Stop right there. Tell me you understand what we're talking about. It's all bullshit. Say one thing, do another, make a big bullshit. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. Do you understand what I'm saying? My friend, I'm a reasonable man. I know you are too. I understand there are subtleties and nuances. I understand these things. But I also recognize the fact that there are sometimes things that go beyond this. And the thing I found out is in Washington and with this, nobody knows what they're doing and they don't know what they're saying. It's the most incredible thing in the world. Remember, and it's not just them. I mean, nobody knows what they're talking about. They talk about this thing called the middle class. Do you remember that? The middle class. You know who spoke about the middle class? You know who was really big on the middle class? Bigger than anybody you could imagine. You know who really was? I'll tell you.
Honorable middle-class people who are being crunched.
Unless we begin to figure out how to begin to rebuild the middle class and speak to the middle class, we're in deep trouble. They ain't voting for us, folks.
By the way, just quickly, he was good. I mean, in terms of his loquacity, his delivery, he was actually very, very good. He had a very good phrase, a good, not so much a turn of the phrase, but his ability to speak and articulate. He was wonderful, wonderful. And then, well, you know what happened. But listen, this is the best of Jojo.
Every single year, the earning power of the middle class dropped.
Middle class people are getting killed. Middle class needs relief. The middle class is struggling. Barack Obama
Notice
will
the eye
change
work.
it. The middle class got left behind. That's why President Obama asked me to lead the middle class task force.
Middle class people actually lost.
The middle class is struggling. And
was
right
yelling
now,
at him.
right now, a middle class life is much more fragile than it needs to be or it should be. The middle class is being scrambled. If you lead a middle class life, that's hard. Top 1% and 2% have done exponentially better.
Exponential.
As middle class incomes have plummeted.
Exponential.
But you know what's happened in the middle class at the beginning of the century? It's been clobbered. It's been absolutely
It's good
clobbered.
times,
This is
right?
a make or break moment for the middle class. It really is. This is deadly earnest, man. This is deadly earnest. How they can justify
Any good?
raising taxes in the middle class has been buried
Listen to
the
this.
last 4 years.
He's a
But
Republican.
you know the truth. The middle class is still in trouble. The middle class is still in trouble.
This
The
is
middle class is in
2013.
real trouble now.
2040.
Real trouble. That's what being middle class is. That's what it's about. And the middle class is being clobbered. It's time to help the middle class, not lay more burdens on the middle class. Everything that's happened has eviscerated the middle class. Is Donald Trump, again, not a bad guy, but his value set is totally different. He has no idea what the middle class
he
is
does.
facing. And for a lot of middle class people who've been able to live the middle class dream, they are in danger. Folks in the middle class are in trouble. It's not just their perception, they are in trouble. The middle class is getting killed. We're going to rebuild the middle class. It's been decimated. The bottom's fallen out.
is
Without
2019.
the middle class growing, we're all in trouble. The
Feel
poor are getting poorer. The middle class is getting killed, and the poor have no way up. Where I come from, the neighborhoods I come from, they're in real trouble. Working class people and middle class people, they're being clobbered.
By the way, 2020, remember, he was still not even close to being really bad. He was in pretty good shape. Remember how we thought he was bad because he wouldn't do anything? This was 2020, and it hit him hard.
They're being killed. If you're a middle class family, you're getting hurt badly right now. You're sitting at the kitchen table this morning
That's the
deciding,
old Trump.
well, we can't get new tires for the ball because we have to wait another month. Are sitting at the kitchen table with their bills spread before them, knowing that there's no way to make it another day.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Do you understand what's going on? Do you see what's going on? Do you see this? Oh my God! And it's not just him though. It's not just him. And I'm not even done yet. There's a veritable cacophony. This Bessent is not exactly. I don't know if he's the best person, but he was on with Larry Kudlow. And Larry Kudlow is just a great guy. Larry Kudlow's a nice man. He's a good guy. Just a good guy. Here he is with Mr. Bessent, and this doesn't exactly rouse the crowd, but it kind of gives you a little bit of the rudimentary aspects of what the president's trying to do.
I haven't seen anything from them, but Larry, I can tell you that there are 50, 60, maybe almost 70 countries now who have approached us. So it's going to be a busy April, May, maybe into June. And Japan is a very important military ally. They're a very important economic ally. And the U.S. has a lot of history with them. So I would expect that Japan's going to get priority just because they came forward very quickly. But it's going to be very busy. And if President Trump, again, gave himself maximum negotiating leverage, and just when he achieved the maximum leverage, he's willing to start talking.
I gotta go. Okay, not exactly a ball of fire, but let me tell you who was actually very, very good. Let me tell you who was actually very good, who was excellent, beyond excellent, tremendously good, fantastically excellent, was this fellow who was up against one of these, bless her heart, this young gal who pretty much read from her notes, and she was going to speak to the crowd using that which she had memorized. Okay, that which she had memorized. And here is our friend from Shark Tank. What's his name? That dude from Canada. Listen to him really answer this. This is one of the best responses. Believe it or not, he would be in my cabinet. Listen.
Start on these tariffs. The market is on track right now for its worst weekly performance since March of 2020. How do you continue to be an advocate for these tariffs, given the sell-off we're seeing, given that I have had every source on our show this morning say that these tariffs will be causing a recession in the United States?
They don't know that yet. They don't know how long the tariffs are going to be on. We've never done this before. We've never taken on the entire globe. Usually it's done in trade agreements with specific countries, such as NAFTA, which was Canada and Mexico, or European Union situation. This is unique, over 60 countries. Now, there's two aspects to these tariffs. Number one is reciprocality against tariffs from one country to another based on products and services that are specific. So if you're charging a 20% tariff in India, it's going to be reciprocated in the United States. And those go away pretty quickly. That actually leads to fair trade. The more complex aspect of these negotiations are around the idea of trade imbalances. And so when you put on tariffs to try and fix trade imbalance, it's difficult because
By the way, let me just throw something in there. Japan is already talking. Taiwan's already talking. And EU, what's her name? Helga von Stupp, whatever she's talking about. So it remains to be China, ladies and gentlemen. China. It's all about China. Come in, China. Come in, Berlin. Come in, Berlin.
Because the largest economy on earth is the United States. So really you're starting a behemoth negotiation, and it's happening in every country. You highlighted Canada, but you might as well talk about Britain or even Switzerland, where I am right now, where they have over 30% tariffs imposed 48 hours ago. And so you can assume that behind the scenes are two spheres of negotiations. One is, let's try and reduce the imbalance of trade by buying more stuff in the United States. That's one signal. And the other, which is very easy to fix, is simply remove all tariffs. If you're going to have reciprocal tariffs at 20%, 30%, 40%, just get rid of them, bring them down to zero.
But Kevin, as of this morning, with a 34% retaliatory tariff from China to the United States, we are not getting closer to free trade. We are just getting further into a trade war.
No.
It just started. Honey, it just started. What's this trade war? It just started. What are you doing? See, they gave her these things. God damn it, you want to work for Yahoo Finance? You better make sure you say this stuff. Don't you give Trump a chance. Just read this. Read the litany. I don't care if you understand it. Just read it. Read this.
China's a whole different story. This
me
isn't about trade war with China. This is about leveling the playing field on a wide range of issues, including IP law, access to business, access to courts, being compliant with U.S. regulations on securities. There is a laundry list of grievances with China that have been around since they joined the WTO, and none of the administrations previously have ever dealt with China.
So why are tariffs the right way?
Dealt with for the first time. So this has nothing to do with just tariffs. I mean, right now I can't litigate.
That's the tool that the administration is using. Why are
Very good. You figured that one out.
tariffs the correct tool if, to your point, these have nothing to do with tariffs?
What tool do you suggest they do when nothing else
Well,
is
I'm not the
working?
president. It's not my job.
No, well, you're an expert. You're an expert all of a sudden. You talk to all of your sources. What do you think, honey?
Well, exactly. So let him do his work. China's different than all the other countries.
But it's not
China has to be
It just started. This is hours old. Can you believe this? Hours old.
Right?
Look, I'm having lots of problems with China, as are millions of other companies in the United States that try to do business there. They do not play by the rules. They're going to have to start doing it pretty soon. That's a different conversation. You want to talk about the markets correcting? Yes, they are. By the way, markets correct every 18 months up to 20%. You're watching it happen right now. It's not pleasant. You can't blame just the tariffs for this. These have been very expensive markets now for almost 18 months. Now they're having a correction. I think what matters.
By the way, isn't he one? Well, he should be on the. He's a lot better than Besant. You see, my friends, half of the goal, half of the problem, half of all of this is to just explain. And and why he's on Yahoo Finance, I don't know. But this is very, very good stuff. I'm sorry, Kevin. Continue.
Is this a recession signal, yes or no? And how long will these tariffs be on? I would say 50% of these tariffs across these 60 countries will be negotiated pretty quickly, including the Canadian situation you made details on. Canada's different because they're in the middle of an election. Carney's not an elected official. He has no mandate from the Canadian people. He's just an interim prime minister when they threw out Justin Trudeau a few weeks ago. He's got to get elected first, so he's going to say anything he possibly can to try and distract Canadian voters from the fact that his party bankrupt the country. 25% of Canadians live in poverty. They have had no GDP growth for 10 years. There's no investment capital in Canada anymore, and the dollar's lost 41% of its value. Canadians can't go to the United States because they can't afford it under Carney's leadership in his party. So those are different issues too. There's a lot of things going on at the same time.
A lot of things that economists tell me are not fixable via tariffs, but I am curious.
See, she keeps saying economists. Her whole thing is the people I talk to tell me this can't be done. The people I talk to, I talk to people all day long. This is a sinking ship. We are headed for a recession, then a depression, then a stagflation, then inflation. And the people I talk to, I don't know anything independently, but the people that I talk to and the people that we book, and the people that we book, the people we have here, and those people, they tell me this. They tell me.
From your perspective, then, why do you think that we are moving towards a negotiation where these tariffs are not going to be as bad as they seem right now, at least for financial markets?
Did you just hear what he said? I don't think I think somebody might have been talking to her. Sometimes in IFBs, little earpiece, they talk to you, and when they talk to you repeatedly, you're not listening to the person. They're saying, "Okay, got a break. Ask him about this," because he just answered that.
What is it that gives you confidence that there is going to be a negotiation reached?
Because there's a good reason to do it. I mean, you got to distinguish the noise versus the signal. I said this countless times about Trump. Let's take the Canadian situation, which we've been talking about. If you combine those economies, I'm not saying buying the country, but if you combine the economies, which seems impossible to do given the rhetoric and what's going on right now, but the truth is, the signal is, it would be much stronger against China if there were no tariffs between Canada and the United States, and they had a common currency, and they protected the northern border, not the 49th parallel. Now, the Canadians know that's worth.
Isn't this incredible? I learned more. This is what I'm going to play this for you. I've learned more from this fellow. And by the way, thank God for Yahoo Finance for letting him speak. But I learned a lot more of him through him than I have Mr. Besant.
Because 75% of their output has been sold to the United States for over 120 years. 17 states call Canada the #1 trading partner.
Yeah.
28 states, in addition to those 17, #2 trading.
He's Canadian, by the way. He kind of knows that.
Partners Canada. So it'd be economic suicide not to work this out. The obvious answer is to remove all tariffs, and that will happen. My guess is right after the election, when the Canadians make their choice about who they want to lead them, that person will fly to Washington immediately and start negotiations, which I would call NAFTA 3. But right now, that's not happening because Carney's trying to use this whole Trump issue as fulcrum to try and distract Canadians away from the facts that he wiped out the country.
By the way, one thing about O'Leary, remember this. If you can go back and watch, there was a young lady. She's older now. Her name is Rachel Parent. And she did this thing called Kids for, she's not a kid right now, but Kids, she was the utmost GMO expert. And during the course of something, she and Carney, she tore him apart on GMOs. I mean, a kid. So he knows this. GMOs, he didn't. But I digress.
Maybe he'll get elected, maybe he won't. Nobody knows right now. But nothing's going to happen on the Canadian situation until the election's over in just over 5 weeks.
So let's talk about the Canadian citizen reaction, because we've already seen evidence of Canadian citizens
Hear those? Hear that? This, my ears go crazy. That's a Hannity. When I hear that, ooh, listen.
boycotting American products. We've heard from CEOs that they are concerned about that. Even airline CEOs and the governor of New York being concerned about Canadians not wanting to travel to the United States. Are you getting that pushback from your fellow citizens in Canada?
No. You can understand if you've got the froth and rhetoric around an election cycle why you would get some of that in. Some Canadians are unhappy. There's no question about it. But Canadians are not stupid.
Okay.
They understand the economic advantage of working and selling to the United States and having no tariff.
By the way, this is the most incredible thing. Whoever it was, so touche for Yahoo Finance. Normally they would say, this has gone too long. It's gone, because I know the way these people think. This is actually excellent.
Whatsoever. The behemoth economy is a golden jewel of an idea, and everybody gets that joke. Americans do not hate Canadians. Canadians do not hate Americans. Sure. Politicians have lots of rhetoric when they're trying to get elected. That's what they're doing here. All of this will pass.
Okay, we're gonna stop. This is just do you see? Do you see what is happening? Do you see how this is working? Do you see how all of this is working? Do you see how nobody knows what they're doing? Nobody knows what they're saying. Nobody knows. They kind of know. Her job is you cannot do anything that in any way appears to be in support of President Trump. You cannot do this, or in support or in favor of his plan working. This is Trump. Even though I could list for you case after case, and I have, of people who basically said, what are you going to do about China? But you understand the way this works. The president cannot, there is no, you cannot say, and by the way, whether you're Bill Ackman, whether you're Rand Paul, whether you're Dave Portnoy, that retardate, why he's on, I have no earthly idea. This mega zillionaire, he's a moron. You have these people who are, how did I do? All right, go out and blast Trump. It started today. Today was day one. I don't know. I don't understand. It's like, you ever talk to people before who go on a diet and they say, hey, I'm hungry. Hungry. You're on a diet. But I like that. I don't like this. I'm hungry. They say, what do you think this is? Or somebody who's trying to get off of drugs. Hey, I got the shakes. I know you're I don't understand what people think is the reaction to this. I don't know if people don't know what to say. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't know if they really grasp it. Now, coming up, my friends, I want you to listen very, very carefully to the best example and before California
the sign has been down heavily.
So I don't want to get. He's just making this up. Tourism? Not where I am.
In the tourism debate. My question is, the sign says the fascist Trump regime must go. Yeah. And so I'm just curious what makes him a fascist. You pointed out that maybe something about his relationship with the media, he wants to control it, but
it's not fascist.
Again, you're calling him a fascist.
Yeah, well,
what makes him a fascist?
One of the core tenets of fascism is creating an enemy, right? And
No.
blaming those problems on
What's
the
that?
So
the paper gave me, yeah.
The paper they gave me, I don't know, they gave me the paper and I read it. And then they give me a pizza and we go home.
Gave you that?
The people that gave you the sign. That's a free sign.
Oh, someone gave you the sign, and then they gave you the handout. So you're reading it now to try to answer the question?
I don't know.
Can I see that? Can you hold that up?
Sure.
No, I'm just curious.
You can have it.
I can have it?
All
righty.
Too many words.
So where did you get the sign?
They gave it to me.
All the way
Oh, that lady over there.
gatekeeper's house.
Okay. That's another one? They gave you two pieces of paper?
Two? I know, I'm not going to read
Can I
it.
have that one too?
Yes, you can
Sure,
have
take
Oh,
it.
okay. So what brings you guys out here today?
Defending God. I'm not a proponent, but I'm always defending God. I'm saying, look, God would say, whoa, wait. Now you're playing with this. Now, my friends, I think tomorrow we're going to pick up this Russell Brand thing. I think one of the reasons why is because he decides he's going to go against the system. He's turning his life around. There is a fellow named John Alight.
You are muted. You are talking to me and you are muted.
Oh my God, that whole time. I was like, we're going to skip around. Blah, blah. What's funny is 6 months ago, he was all talking smack about Russell Brand. But hey, it's all good. Everyone's changes. Let's see. Streamed 28 minutes ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a monumental Supreme Court victory for President Trump. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. New York Times, Supreme Court temporarily blocks order to return man wrongfully deported to El Salvador. Politico, John Roberts lifts midnight deadline for U.S. to bring back man who was wrongfully deported. MSNBC News, well, that's Trump seeks Supreme Court's, he already got the Supreme Court's help. The Hill, Roberts temporarily halts. Deadline for Trump administration to return deported man. Okay, so really quickly, in a couple of seconds, you will hear from President Trump, Tom Homan, Greg Jarrett, and a whole bunch of people talking about the president's ability to enforce immigration laws. Really quickly, God bless the people from El Salvador, Venezuela, Mexico, Middle East. If you're undocumented or documented in the country, God bless you. And I say that with all due respect, and I mean it. There are wonderful, beautiful human beings from El Salvador. The most amazing, wonderful people are from El Salvador. This is not about anything to do with the ethnicity or the culture or the nationality or even the specific. Well, it does have to do with immigration laws, but this doesn't have to do with anything that is tied to the identity or the nationality or the culture or the ethnicity of being from El Salvador or from Central America or Latin America or anything to do with what Democrats routinely wrap themselves around. So God bless all the good, hardworking, wonderful, amazing people from these countries. That's number one. Number two, President Trump became president, won the popular vote. In a couple of seconds, you will hear the analysis in a second. So stay tuned just a couple of seconds, but I want to give you some background on this. I told you the Supreme Court would continually side with President Trump. I was right on that. Did I not tell you if you watch this channel? The Supreme Court would side with Trump because what Democrats, media, what others have been doing has been blatantly unconstitutional for a number of reasons. There are existing laws that need to be enforced. The Biden administration didn't want to enforce the laws and then took things into their own hands, flying people to New York, giving them money to spend, putting them up in hotels. This is not part of U.S. immigration policy. Congress did not pass this legislation. Democrats want to legislate through judges and through state governors, blue state governors. They don't want to go through Congress because they're so utterly inept in Congress. They will not go to bat for undocumented immigrants. They didn't even give Trump a border wall, even though President Trump in the first term stated he was going to give Dreamers citizenship. So that's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. The issue is that President Trump was elected to enforce existing laws. The laws state that undocumented immigrants, if perhaps a person commits a crime, especially if a person commits a crime, can easily be deported. These are laws within the United States of America that Democrats helped pass through Congress, by the way. And when liberal pundits, I don't have X, I don't have Instagram, I don't have anything but my YouTube channel. When liberal pundits pretend to wrap themselves in this cloak of morality, like they do on every topic, at the expense of being immoral and unethical and uninformed and ignorant, what they do is they say, oh, look at what Trump did. This is a man. And look, he might not have been part of any criminal organization. He's a father. Ordinarily you would say, why is he being deported? He was undocumented. That's the issue. U.S. laws allow for this to take place. If Democrats, and it's not Trump that is the villain here, it's the Democratic Party. They could easily go to Congress right now. They might not pass it, but they could champion a legislation. They could champion a bill that says if you're undocumented and you commit a misdemeanor or low-level crime, even if you commit any type of crime, a felony or a misdemeanor, you can still stay in the country, or they can push legislation to ensure that undocumented immigrants who commit crimes are not immediately deported. Why don't they do that? Why don't Democrats do that? Now, if you're listening, you might think that's completely outlandish. The issue, ladies and gentlemen, is that Democrats don't actually believe in the things that they claim to believe in. They're just going to say, well, we've done this the same way the whole time. I mean, there's a process. I mean, why is Trump implementing the tariffs? Why can't we just campaign? I've explained the past couple segments on why the tariffs are important. Why can't we just campaign on bringing jobs back and never do anything? Why can't we just blame Trump for deporting this individual and never do anything about it? Well, why don't you do something about it, Democrats? Make it a campaign issue for 26. But they won't do it because not only is it cowardice, they're not. The average liberal Democrat is a wonderful, beautiful person, but they love to think of themselves as morally superior and highly intellectual, highly educated. And yet, completely, when you look at the track record, inept at governing and running the country. And so you look at Biden, he was forced out because the entire world was forced to see just how, let's just use the word inept he was. Same with Democrats in Congress. They're not going to go and pass legislation to prevent this gentleman from being deported. Let's say this gentleman is perfectly innocent and fine, other than just being undocumented. The laws state, and the due process, you don't get the Bill of Rights if you're undocumented, not the complete Bill of Rights. You can't own a firearm. That's one example. There goes the Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, you might not get either. And then if you commit a crime, you can be deported under the existing laws, even if you don't commit a crime. But let's continue. Let's listen to this really quickly. Hit subscribe if you're new.
With some breaking news. In just the past 15 minutes, Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts temporarily pausing a judge's order that required a deported Maryland man to be returned to the U.S. by tonight. It means for now, Kilmar Abrego Garcia will not be coming back to the United States.
So this is part of the major developments in the case Fox 5 has stayed ahead of from the very start.
Let's get to Chief Legal Correspondent Katie Barlow live outside the Supreme Court with the latest details. Katie?
Hey, good evening, ladies. As you said, just about 15 minutes ago, Chief Justice John Roberts issued what's called an administrative stay. It's a temporary pause that kind of freezes everything in place and stays or pauses Judge Paul Lazinis' order that would have required Kilmar Abrego Garcia to be returned to the United States.
Now he's in El Salvador. Now he's under the jurisdiction of President Bukele and the officials in El Salvador. The president, under Article 2 of the Constitution, President Trump can negotiate a deal with President Bukele, and El Salvador and the United States, under Article 2 of the Constitution, can negotiate any deal that they want to, that doesn't need the Senate or the Congress to approve. In this case, President Trump negotiated with President Bukele of El Salvador. Now the gentleman who's the father, and I'm sure a fantastic family man and all of that, he was mistakenly sent. Unfortunately, Democrats tomorrow can push legislation, even though they don't have the House or Senate. They lost every battleground state. They lost the presidency. They lost the popular vote. They lost the presidency. But they can push legislation. They can name the legislation anything they want, and they can state that individuals who were wrongfully sent to El Salvador need to be returned immediately, no matter what the possible criminal history is. Why don't Democrats do that? It's not Trump that is the bad person or the villain here. It's the Democratic Party that wraps itself around a cloak of, it was really immoral deception, but moral indignation aimed at deceiving people who don't pay attention. Okay, if you're a morally superior liberal Democrat, pay attention. Democrats can work to pass legislation to ensure that undocumented immigrants who commit crimes can stay here, or undocumented immigrants can stay without being deported. They can pass legislation and push for it. Why don't they? Even though they don't have the House and Senate, they can campaign on that. They will never do anything of the sort. And we know we obviously know why.
By midnight tonight. This comes as the Department of Justice asked the Supreme Court to step in here and put that pause order in place. Now, the chief got this request because he's actually in charge of requests that come up from the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, overseeing cases out of Maryland. And basically what happens now is he will refer the matter to the full court for consideration. And they seem to be interested in moving quickly here, sensitive to the timeline, because the Chief Justice called for a response by 5 o'clock tomorrow. But it turns out Abrego Garcia's legal team didn't need that long, because just minutes ago, they filed their response to the Department of Justice, saying that this order should be allowed to go forward and that Abrego Garcia should be returned by midnight tonight in their filing. They called this a case one of one. This is a one-off, essentially, where the government admitted a mistake in deporting Abrego Garcia to his home country of El Salvador when there was an order from an immigration judge saying specifically that he cannot be deported to El Salvador. So right now, that means the full court will consider both sides' responses, and now we will see how long it takes the court, now that they have heard from both sides, to make this decision. Typically, in this case, when you hear from both sides, the government, who makes the initial request, they get a little while to issue what's called a surreply. Basically,
There has been talk that an informant stated that the gentleman was potentially part of a criminal organization. There were issues with...
Unmute Ardizzle.
Their decision to put a federal attorney on leave over the case.
Anyways, so, okay, look, HA, he'll have the same 2 or 3 talking points, and he'll do like 2 or 3 videos a day on it. Okay, trying to minimize the browser. There we go. Hello, circle, red, green circle, red dot on green circle. All right, let's see. Read this. Oh, okay. Have seen my video and mic have been disabled by what? Technical difficulties, folks. All right, sorry about that, Raleigh. You should be able, there you go. You know what it was? I was thinking of putting the link out, and so then I disabled that, but okay. Anyways, sorry about that. How's it going?
Great. I just couldn't comment or anything, as I was like, oh, I can't see myself or hear myself.
You locked out. I was saying, so H.A. Goodman just will take the same 2 or 3 topics and kind of
I heard you.
Okay.
I heard you. I just couldn't. I couldn't like.
Here, you can share now. So you take the wheel here.
I haven't had a chance to see anything. Well,
what about two-way? We were gonna do a two-way recap. Why don't you put on two-way and just like point out the, the characters? That's always fun.
Yeah, it was Ben Hogum, or
No, the guests. Like, who are the guests? Let's spotlight the guest.
Dean got on. Dean got on.
Let's put on Dean.
Dean's been on more than any of us.
All right, Dean. This is your life on two-way. I got 8 steaks in the air fryer.
Huh. I'm having trouble finding two-way.
I know, right? It's like not easy. That's what I'm saying, man. You like you were saying, oh, it's easy to find things and search, but see, here you go.
I was not saying that. I don't think YouTube's search algorithm, I think it's shit.
Well, you said you just Google stuff and you find it, but then there's something.
Yeah, if I Google it, but I was looking on the two-way.
So if you Google it, does it come up faster? That's funny. I should test that out myself. That would be actually very funny if Googling a YouTube channel came up faster than putting it in the YouTube search. I sent it to Michael, but I didn't get a response on let's see. Oh, dude, I should not have opened up the Zoom, the main window. It's too much memory.
No, it's slowing my computer down too.
Okay. All right. I mean, if he's trying to make deals with other countries, the other countries are under the illusion that we're going to stop this thing for 90 days. That changes the trajectory of these 70 countries that are dying to meet with the administration, quote unquote. So
Pause it for a second, Raleigh.
wouldn't they want to?
What?
So, I mean, haven't we crossed the Rubicon? Those guys are talking heads in Windows, and we're talking heads in Windows.
Yeah.
Sorry, still has.
So, oh, Dean.
Green.
Go Dean.
Where just as where are you? If some folks don't know, and then why are you to tell your Trump voting history, and then why you're worried about the terrorists or confused or whatever it is.
Yeah. So being in Northeast Ohio, I'm about an hour south of Cleveland. You're a football fan. I'm in Canton, Ohio, Pro Football Hall of Fame. I voted for the president 3 times, for Hillary, for when he went against Biden, and the last time. I am in this man's corner, but I don't know what the hell is going on right now. I go to, and look, not the smartest tool in the shed, but when Ben Shapiro, when Bill Ackman, when Sean Hannity starts questioning in ways that make me nervous, then I start to think, what the heck is going on? Is the president playing some type of 3D or 4D chess game? This shouldn't be as hard as he is making it. If he would have told me that the stock market was going to go down as much as it was going to go down before it happened, I would have given him a little bit of grace. This fact of him coming in at the last minute.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a little bit hard for a little bit. That's number one that is just driving me nuts. The second thing is these small handful of administration people, Rutnick, I'm going to get the names wrong, and Navarro, I'm done with those guys. They can't get their act together. They can't get their story straight. And that is, again, I support the president. I love what he's doing with the border. I love everything he could give a heads up to the American people and get us on board here.
Okay, let's let Hogan respond to that. Hogan. No, I mean, look, I think a lot of people wanted Donald Trump to come in and be that disruptor, make these changes. The problem is a lot of these changes could be painful for a while. And I would argue Donald Trump did say you could have some pain for a while. Now, if you want him to explain it more, Dean, I get that. I mean, most people out here listening to these politicians would love a better explanation or a longer explanation. But I think Donald Trump said, look, there's going to be some pain, but this is going to bring our jobs back, and it's going to make us on free and fair ground, because every politician I know, I'm sure everyone you have ever listened to says they want free and fair trade. Well, the free trade's always there. The fair trade never follows. And Trump says, I'm going to make that happen. But the course correct, it's going to cost some money. It's going to take some time, but we're going to come back bigger and better. He's basically been saying that. So have all the other people you're talking about. So I mean, and honestly, I'm not being dismissive. Like, what would you like an Oval Office address? Would you like a sit down interview just about tariffs? Like, what would you like? Because I mean, I may or may not know some people that could potentially make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see him sit down with Ben Shapiro, with Bill Ackman, and get those guys on board. Heck, get Elon back on board for that particular strategy.
I heard Ben this morning. I listened to Ben's podcast from last week on Friday when he talked about tariffs. So I'm with you. I heard it this morning.
Yeah, just pick one. If we can understand the goals.
Hey, Raleigh, can we split screen?
That are going to happen. Hogan, I'd be.
I'm sorry, what?
Because it says that I'm sharing my screen to you. Do you know how to do dual screen share? Because I shared this in the morning meeting chat. I don't know if you recall this, and then Andrew Tawani picked up on it.
I don't. I'll just stop my stream.
Well, let me see. Let me click on it. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Let's see, advanced sharing. There should be you think it would have a, let's see, show meeting. View. What if we do side-by-side multi-speaker? Huh.
That's just you.
Okay, all right, yeah, let me, well, no, I'll just send you the link. How about that? And then you can put it up. So you can resume playing it.
How?
Happy with some healthy pushback.
You have to stop sharing. All I see is your share.
Oh, that's weird. So then what's showing up on YouTube? Let me bring it up on YouTube. Let's see, maybe it is dual share. Okay, never mind. Now I'm messing things up because now I'm outputting to the phone. So let me stop all that.
There we go.
Okay.
From the Speaker of the House. I mean, everyone just seems to be rolling over a little bit. Not everyone. I mean, I know that there are some that are speaking, but hey, the good news for the right side of, sorry.
What? Oh, her vest. Yep. Hold on. Sorry, we got a mic open somewhere.
No, that's
keep
fine.
going.
The good news, Hogan, for the right side of the aisle is the left side is screwed up so much. These books are coming out on how. I wanted to ask Ms. Bianchi. I said, if you were in the administration over this last 6 months, what would you have done to stay out of the to do right by the American people? If you got time, you can answer that, Sarah. But I give the president his due. I give him a long. I'm nobody. I'm.
You're not nobody. You're Dean from Ohio.
Seeing and everything else. This one just is a confusing myth for me so far.
Okay, Dean. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, well, look, I think the president, some of the goals are right on. Okay, there are supply chains that are a security risk. We need to have more of them in the United States, or at least with allies. I support that. I do think we need to be very, very hard line with China. They overproduce and then they export and flood markets and cause all kinds of damage. So 100%. I think in my own mind, the best way to get reshoring to happen is not, for a pharmaceutical to build in the US. I don't think a tariff quite is going to get you there. I thought more the CHIPS Investment Act, try to get semis, I think you do need some incentives, some carrots along with that. But I guess I would be more interested in a strategy that that was a little bit more China focused and reshoring focused and didn't have all the other components that I think are just some industries that I saw Mr. Lutnick on TV last night saying we could all push pins into iPhones and that's going to make America great again. First of all, that stuff's probably already automated. If not, it's on its way. So I question, I don't think necessarily people want to make, t-shirts or grow bananas here. So I just think it should be more strategically focused and.
Sarah, can I ask you then, sorry, one follow-up. So the two strategies that I hear are, one, tariffs are revenue generation for our country. Two, they're a way to get other countries to remove the tariff and take it down to zero. Which camp are you in? Take the tariffs on both sides down to zero, free trade for everyone, or do you see it more as a revenue generation for the country?
I think if you're just doing it for revenue, you're probably going to hit too many middle class people at higher costs. So I do not believe that it is the most efficient way to get more revenue into the government. I think there's other spending cuts and other ways to go about that. I'm more supportive of the reshoring strategy and the contain China strategy. The interesting thing about getting everyone's tariffs to zero, I'm totally fine with that. If we do that on trucks, we're going to have a big problem because we have really high tariffs coming on trucks in this country, which is why we have an SUV and truck market that is as robust as it is. So we should be careful. But I also want to make this point again, even if Vietnam takes its tariff rate from 5% to zero, Trump has them at 46 because there's a lot of other structural things he's trying to fix. And I'm not sure we're going to get all that done. I think he should focus on a couple different places where he wants to make a difference and not try to boil the ocean.
Dean, thank you. Struggling with that new map too. Thank you, Mark.
Grateful, Dean. Thank you. Hogan, what is the speaker doing to balance the interests of his conference and his constituents with the
Wrong button. So Andrew Tioff.
About the, I finally figured out the chat. Hey, I gotta grab a soda. You want to read that in the meantime? I gotta grab a soda. You want to read that, or?
Oh, you want me to read it out loud?
Well,
Trump is trying to crash the stock market at least 20%, causing a flight into treasuries. This will cause the Fed to slash interest rates so he can refinance the debt to near zero and cause a deflationary spiral, which will lower the cost of everything. He also intends to use tariffs as an incentive for companies to build in the U.S. to avoid having to pay them. The tariffs and the resulting global trade war will also force American farmers to sell more of their goods in the U.S. due to retaliatory trade measures by other countries, which will directly lower the price of groceries in the U.S. More than 94% of all stocks is owned by just 8% of the U.S. population. Trump is literally taking money from the rich and giving it to the poor. This is why Trump is playing a game of hokey pokey with tariffs. One day, he has 25% tariffs on Mexico, and the next he doesn't. This is to cause extreme volatility in the markets and a desperate need and demand to flee towards treasury bonds, which are much more stable, but offer much lower potential return. This is also why eggs are cheaper than they were under Joe Biden.
What do you think?
I don't think it's that. I mean, maybe. I don't think he's worried about the stock market.
Well, no, but isn't that exactly what it's saying? Is that he's intentionally shorting it?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. I don't think he's that concerned about it, really, to be honest with you. I don't think he's concerned about it going down or up. Maybe this stuff about I just don't think these tariffs are going to stay as long as people are making it out to be. And the moment that the trade wars come to an end, the stock market will go back up. There will be a flight from treasury bills. Maybe. I don't know.
Let's let Dean put Dean back on. Let him finish.
He did finish.
Oh, he finished? Okay.
I'm going to close YouTube now and end stop sharing because it is probably going to burn my laptop up.
Oh no. Okay. Is there anything else? Oh, the YouTube API and all that stuff. Oh goodness. That's
Goodness gracious.
great balls of fire.
No.
Maybe nerd out for a second.
That's the only time you've ever heard that expression?
What expression?
Goodness gracious.
Great balls of fire. I'm just wired that way. Okay, where were the links I sent you earlier? What the hell? Dude, my iPhone isn't syncing with... Okay, never mind. There it is. Oh, my steaks are ready. Nice. I think
I'm
it's
very congested today. Very congested.
You ever do that nasal rinse?
With saline solution?
Right.
Yeah, I just don't have any saline right now. Oh, I
It's like a quarter tea. Hey, cool. It's like a quarter teaspoon.
You sent it to everybody? He's gonna think there's other people here. Hi, Alan.
Oh, he's not gonna think anyone but that dude. This is the coolest place to be.
I don't. It's Alan. It's just us.
That's okay. I just saw the message. I was like, let's see what's going on.
Yeah. So okay. Let me catch you up. Raleigh just played. Basically, we're YouTubers reacting to YouTubers, and Raleigh just had Dean on from Two Ways, with the morning show. All concerned about tariffs. Prior to that, it was, I think, H.A. Goodman. Prior to that, Lionel Nation. And prior to that, Lou Valentino, who's like big time. They're all MAGA.
Dean got on Two Ways, so we played that.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to watch tonight's episode. It was my sister's birthday, so I just got
Happy
back.
birthday, sis.
Happy birthday, sister, Alan's sister.
You shaved, Alan.
Yeah, I had to get rid of the beard.
I want to see the beard. Hey, Raleigh, you mind putting up the last bit again? Just let's get Alan's take on it about, the inside theory. Because basically Dean was saying he wanted Trump to have telegraphed the shorting of the market or dropping of the market. And then the expert that Mark had on was like, well, Trump said things might get difficult. If you wanted him to say more, then okay. So here it is. So Alan, is it too small text? Can we blow it up a little?
That's right. I've seen this theory about crashing the market.
I can't blow it up.
No, it's okay.
Browser zoom.
I'll read it I'll skim it real quick. I mean, Scott Bessent's a genius. Like he was some of the brains behind Soros shorting the Bank of England. And some of the things I've been reading are similar to what he did when he helped Soros make his billions. I think that was in 2008, or when they shorted the Bank of England. They're trying to do that to the Chinese currency.
Yeah, I guess I need to be more respectful. I mean, so it's easy to talk about something. I'm not in the market, so
I mean, I actually I understand what they're trying to do. I mean, I didn't get a chance to talk too much in the big meeting, we have afterwards. I usually throw a couple things and try to listen and then research and learn. But I think the tariffs are like multifaceted. They're a negotiating tool. I don't think we're gonna get back to manufacturing everything in this country because, some things just, some jobs people aren't going to take. And then the other thing is I think we're going to utilize manufacturing, like not like old products, like, we're going to build ships, we're going to do our defense stuff, but like the emerging AI technology and the robotics, that's where that's where we need to reshore the jobs. Like it's going to be the second, like the robotics and the drones and the stuff to make some of the bigger products like
And the Sterling engine, right, Raleigh? My favorite prop.
yeah, that's what I think. Those are the new manufacturing jobs. They're going to be like it's going to be the new car industry.
So shiny.
From,
Hang on, I'm listening to Alan.
So, I mean, that's my 2 cents on everything.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Alan. You're saying that they're gonna, if they bring factories back, they're gonna be more AI. They're gonna be more automated and they're gonna have more machine learning. That they're not gonna be as less labor. They're gonna be less labor intensive.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna bring back the cars and some of the things we need to build, like tanks and airplanes and missiles, like that part of it. We're gonna specialize in drones. I think Palmer Luckey's drone company is gonna be a big winner in defense because the thing is we need to cut our defense budget, right? And the future of war is not going to be fought. It's going to be fought by soldiers, but it's going to be mainly fought with drones. And it's going to be drones and boots on the ground. It's going to be a combination of drones, boots on the ground, because you can create a swarm of drones that can take out an F-16 or one of those planes. If you do a massive swarm of drones on an airplane, eventually one of them is going to take it out, right? No matter what you do. And the cost of those, let's say 1,000 drones cost less than an F-16. You know what I'm saying?
It's a West Coast party.
So what I think our defense budget
Oh,
is
sorry. Give me 1 second, Jack.
Oh,
I'm
no
sorry
worries.
about that, Alan. My bad.
I'm listening to what you're saying, Alan. It's interesting. You're saying they're gonna most of the defense stuff they're gonna build here, but because warfare is changing, you think like Palmer Luckey's.
What I think is the defense budget, we're gonna have the most advanced technology, right? We're gonna specialize in these swarms of drones that can do the job of what, it's going to be a different kind of warfare, and whoever's got the better drones, but drones are inherently cheaper than an F-16, right? So we can advance our military, advance our technology, advance our military defense, and still cut the defense budget. So I think we're gonna see an innovation in drone warfare and drone technology, which is inherently cheaper. Like to build, let's say to build 100,000 drones is a lot cheaper than building, 100 air superior
Fighter jet, yeah.
fighter jets. Fighter jets are still going to play a toll, but like if you have better drones, you can take out most airplanes. You'll be able to take out airplanes. You'll be able to. Warfare is evolving and going to be a lot different. But that's where I think our focus on manufacturing is going to be there, building like AI data centers, building robotics to build, our specialized industry. And that's going to be like it's going to be like the second coming of the American auto industry that industrialized this country. That's where I see everything going based on what I'm reading. And, we can lower our defense budget and at the same time have the most cutting edge military technology that'll be able to, so, but anyways.
Thank you for sharing, Alan.
Alan, if you don't mind me asking, I don't know if you want to keep this private. We are live streaming. But what is it that you do?
What do you do, Alan?
What do I do? I started I majored in economics in college.
Oh, are you going to Florida State?
No, I went to University of Florida, but here I gotta change my name too. to just Alan C.
Oh yeah, dude. You want to promote your ex? I think everyone.
No. I just want. I don't want. Is
Oh, it
my
doesn't show on YouTube. It doesn't show on YouTube, by the
Oh,
way.
okay. I didn't know if it showed on YouTube.
Yeah.
I majored in economics. Got offered some jobs when I got out of college, and I decided to stay in the restaurant industry and wait tables because I was making more money at the time. Then I got into restaurant management. I managed restaurants for a long time. Then I got into medical recruiting, and 2 years ago I had heart surgery. I don't even want to get into why I think part of it was genetics, but I had a quadruple bypass, and
You're kind of in recovery mode, right?
yeah, like and then like I went back to work too quickly, and then I wasn't performing at work.
Hey,
I was
one day at a time, brother.
I was doing medical recruitment and like doing really well, and when I came back, I couldn't perform like I was.
You look really healthy.
No, I am, but like I have a couple of theories of what between like I don't want to get into like COVID craziness, but I think reading up about the mRNA and how it changes your DNA, and like I was 44 when I had my heart surgery, and so but I think the vaccine had something to do with it, the vaccine, between the pandemic, the vaccine, and all those things. But I'm just trying to work my way back into shape, and then I'm actually right now I'm in between work at this point. But
I'm about to join you, so I understand.
Hey, no, you know what, Alan? There should be like what do I do, man? I'm a media critic, and I tell the truth on two-way.
I mean, I go on two-way. I always love politics. I always love like economics.
Yeah. I just wanted to welcome JM, Jacqueline Marie. How you doing?
I'll let you guys chit chat.
Good.
Went over my previous.
Yeah, that's funny to say. I just tell the truth on two-way, like, because like no one's on two-way that long. It just go. It's a whole cycle. It's like a revolving door of people.
Yep. Until we kind of what was it? Open Pandora's box.
Oh, by the way, Jackie, I wanted to tell you, I don't know if you saw my message on the two-way chat, but he actually prefers calling on Democrats. If you put Dem in your name and you say, I'm a Dem, he's more likely to call on you. He wants to try to get as many Dems on there as possible. So that's just a suggestion.
Yeah, I got that. I just thought that maybe this particular episode he wanted to hear from Republicans because he wanted to try to see who's kind of on the middle on tariffs and kind of conflicted, to see if like the tariffs are upsetting even Trump supporters, because he's trying to gauge, because it's a Mark Halperin thing to want to gauge the temperature of the electorate or gauge where the public is. That's his thing.
True. That's true. He might have, and I only joined it like 37 minutes in because I was just waiting for Roll to finish up, and I was just like, okay, I'm bored doing this. I'll just finish up two-way. But we at our post meeting that we had after the morning meeting this morning, when it got down to like, maybe you missed this, Alan, but when it got down to like 4 or 5 people, everybody was like, we're behind Trump 100%. Well, they all got honest all of a sudden. And everybody that had supported Trump in the election was saying they're still behind him.
I jumped off because I had a couple of things I had to do.
My guess is that Mark is sometimes reluctant to call on me because he's called on me different times before and he wants new faces. And also, I think that he's trying to like gauge what the normal views are in the public by getting more like.
Are you not normal, Jack?
Either partisan Democrats
is there
or
something
like
abnormal
centrist,
about
and
you?
I'm kind of far left. What?
Are you not normal?
Well, there are normal things about me. I just mean in terms of views, like not in terms of a person, Said
you're far left, like you say collectivist?
Well, I don't know if I'm far left. I just find because some of the people on the far left I find really annoying. Um, but I'm kind of like the bridge between far left and left left. That's where I see myself.
Did you? I guess I'll throw this out there because I think I got Chris off guard. So luckily, thank goodness, the mask mandate ended here in Santa Clara County, but we just had it like in March and February, and I had to take my parents to Kaiser, so I had to deal with that. So for me, and Chris kind of had a double take. He's like, "Now you have it now," and so for me, it's like, okay, the whole benefit of the doubt when the world was ending, sky was falling, crazy things happened. But in 2025, to say, oh, we're having it because of the bird flu or whatever, I mean, I don't think I'm being overly sensitive. Like, for me, that's a very difficult. Okay, I told Raleigh this. I was saying it's the new yellow star. And Raleigh said I could say that.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the science is behind the value of masking at this point if we're stuck with the pandemic kind of cycling through eternally. Because but because the mask at best,
eternally.
I think that what will happen will be there will be medical advances someday that control the symptoms and control and prevent long COVID and more severe COVID, and that will be the solution instead of getting rid of COVID entirely. But I mean, if the threat of COVID is here permanently, maybe we should live with it. But at the same time, it's like, how much does a mask interfere with your life besides dealing with being ostracized by people who hate masks, which is not a big deal?
No, but I find it inhibits my breathing. And this is, I think, the catch-22. You can actually be aware of when you're suffocating, and then you're suffocating, and you're supposed to realize you're suffocating because of the mask. But that's a paradox, because when you're short of breath, asthma attack, what have you, you're hyperventilating, you're not thinking like, oh, let me do the next logical thing. You might just freeze up. And so right. I think, and then besides the face-to-face, you smile, you know, the way we read each other. So it's not a simple thing for me. I can't say that anymore. I guess in the beginning, I'm, you know, yeah, oh, what's the big deal? We've dealt with it. But now in 2025, it goes against my, you know, it goes... Right,
well, I have asthma, so I downgraded from the N95 to the ASTM3 because I did some research, and it seems like my own guesstimate is that the ASTM3, which I feel more comfortable with and find it easier to breathe in, is actually filtering as much as an N95 anyways. But I don't really actually use masks recently, but I'm thinking of going back to using masks, and I just ordered some of the ASTM3 masks.
Before I started my current job, which I started in January of 2022, I was working like a bunch of retail jobs, and I was working at CVS at one point, and this guy comes in, and he's not wearing a mask. He's wearing like some oxygen. Well, I guess he is wearing a mask, but it's like some oxygen mask with like two big circular things.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing that? He said, well, I have a bad heart and I can't really breathe with the other mask, so I wear this one. And it was like some apparatus that he had on his face. I don't know if you've seen that, Alan. It might be something you want to consider if the mask mandates ever come back, considering your issue.
I'm never wearing. I'm fine.
For me, that wouldn't be practical because I work with children and with adults with special needs sometimes, and they would freak out.
Oh, okay.
So this is like, okay, let's share.
I was just gonna say, if I ever do get a mask, it's gonna be like Bane's from Batman.
There we go. I like that.
I'm just gonna wear that.
As a genre boy, I'm a big fan.
I'm like, for the people.
This has been something that I struggled with. I've talked about this story, right? But going back to 2000, my dad would get like a UTI or some sort of infection, and then that would lead to bronchitis, pneumonia, and inevitably he'd lose his balance and he'd fall. And, you know, that's as bad, right? You hit your head or whatever. And then it's like you have to fight. Okay. I'm kind of embarrassed about sharing this live, but like, the long and short of it is over about 20 years, right? 20-year cycle. And no one likes to, I'm the George Costanza. That's the joke, right? I'm the George Costanza of the bunch. Okay. So it's like you're back home with the rents, with the folks, you know, and you start seeing the pattern, the cycles, right? And I've told this story before. I made the Kaiser request. I got like the 4 PDF files, right? 20 years of files. And somewhere buried in it was a note about when he went to the ER back in like 2005, and that the infection cleared with Cipro. Other antibiotics hurt, right? Other antibiotics hurt his stomach. Now, everyone's different. This is my point. Everyone is different, right?
Yeah.
That's what we also learned from COVID, right? Everyone handles these things differently. But part of my, I feel like Maha, and this could be something Chris even works out. Like what I showed is the fish store for only fishes, right? But you could do the telemedicine. You could do the medical sort of tourism, right? Where I think this was never studied, where if someone has bronchitis, pneumonia-like infections, and you give them the antibiotics right away, you know, would that prevent hospital care? And then one other, and then I'll stop talking here in a second. I shared this earlier. This doctor, he's a traditional doctor, and he's probably, he's like vegetarian, okay? And so I don't know if he's pro-Trump, but he's all pro-vaccine and everything like that too. His point was, no matter how many medicines you have, you're always going to have an overflow situation. And in that case, he studied what was done before antibiotics. And what he found is that they did sunlight therapy, steam towels, inducing fevers, like hot baths, cold sweats, you know, all sorts of things. So Roger Sahol. So that's my Maha plug. And I'll stop talking right now. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Should I put it back up, Alan? You were looking at it and I took
No,
it.
I was finishing writing the name down.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat. I guess there's one more. I'm kind of on a roll here. And does anyone can share, right? I think we all can share. If anyone wants to share anything. Okay, I'm gonna put it in the chat, and then I'll bring up one.
About you saying everyone is different, that's very true, because in my support group, we're actually banned from mentioning medications because of how it can lead people in the group to think that a medication will be bad for them or good for them, because like everyone's going to react differently. So people shouldn't be looking for like guidance on medications or listen to other people in the support group. And it's just I'm just saying that's an example of how like medical things can apply differently to different people.
No, totally. And I used to suffer from migraines. I have another friend, Parsi buddy, actually. He cannot tolerate aspirin, Tylenol, anything. He can't tolerate any pain meds. In my case, I finally also just kind of trial and error, Excedrin migraine. You know, I broke it down, and Excedrin migraine is simply caffeine, aspirin, and Tylenol. And then of those three, I was taking Tylenol because my dad, he can't tolerate aspirin. So he's always taking Tylenol. So it was just kind of one of those things. But then I thought about it. I said, you know, Tylenol's kind of I consider it like step 3. I consider aspirin step 2 and caffeine step 1, because a lot of us enjoy coffee, right? So now it's like, even if I feel a migraine on the horizon, anything slightly off, I take the 200 milligram caffeine pill, I split it 4 ways, and I have 50 milligrams of caffeine. And like maybe even a baby aspirin. And, you know, again, everyone has to figure out what works for themselves. But that was a big feeling with my migraines, is like warding them off versus waiting for them to hit. Random.
So what is this show about exactly?
Anything you want to talk about.
Anything you want to talk about.
Sorry, Jack. We just kind of did it. Normally, we would be a little more structured. We're still getting organized, you know.
Okay.
And we've been saying that for like 3 weeks, so.
You know, if you have any.
Yeah, but it's only 3 weeks when you're living your life.
We finally did get the morning show pretty much structured the way we wanted it, and like it's more or less coming together. But we just started these evening shows like a week ago, and we don't know. Like I at first we debated whether inviting people, and I was like, I don't think people are going to want to join Roll. And He invited people.
It's so weird to realize that I came into this Zoom space to meet people and have a social outlet without dealing with going out and meeting people when transportation is expensive for me. And now it's like becoming, and now you've made it into a YouTube show. So it's like, it's for being broadcast, but I'm here to interact with people. And it reminds me of a Hollywood problem. Not, although it's not a problem yet. I don't know.
Come again.
Like, because it's, reality TV where they're like interacting as themselves, but then theoretically it's probably scripted.
No. Okay, I told Raleigh this earlier because we were watching two-way. We actually that's how we were doing before he joined on. We were watching Dean talk about his concern with tariffs, and I'm like, Raleigh, what's the difference? We're all talking heads and squares now.
Mm-hmm.
And before, right? Because all of us had this rush joining two-way, and then, oh my God, you can interact with Mark. You get on there, 15 seconds of fame, and then it's over, and then you're just fighting to get back on. And then all of a sudden, Michael started this. Raleigh kind of, kept it going, and then I just, by God's grace, here we are, right? So
I'm just on to
What did you want to say, Alan?
No,
Alan
I'll go afterwards.
Okay. Go. You can go, Jackie.
I'm just on two-way for the interactivity, and to me, it's like, wow, cool. The world is small because you interact with these people, with these powerful people, but you're in your real life, and you're one of the normal life people, and I just think that coming together worlds is very cool to be part of. But I actually don't even tell any of my friends that I've been on two-way or that two-way exists.
That is anti-Mark. He's always trying to tell us to bring more people on, but actually, I do the same. I don't ever tell anybody either.
I think that if two-way succeeds, it will happen or it won't happen. It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, there you go.
Two-way is great. I mean, I stumbled upon it, like, I think in August. It just popped up in my X feed, and I'm like, okay, let me check this out. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, and then I was like, how do I get on? I kept watching it on my X feed, and then I found that, like, my birthday was February 17th, and I sent in the thing to get on the nighttime chat. I got in, and it was the diabetes.
I was really troubled by that because he had on, what's his name, those rappers, and they were giving the worst. And essentially, they were doing if I'm going to eat a loaf of bread, then I'm going to take extra diabetes medicine.
Yeah, well, that was his friend passing away, and then there was the other guy. And I mean, I have type 2 diabetes.
My dad does, by the way.
And I actually got on and got to talk about my heart surgery, and
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
And then the guy with the type 1 diabetes asked me, like, what I eat, and, like, I try to focus on, like, higher protein, less carbs, and he's like, you need to go all vegetarian, and, like, that goes against things I've read. I mean, the doctors tell you one thing, then you got to read what's online and figure out where the truth lies, because the doctors aren't 100% right, because they want you on the pills, they want you on this medicine, and then you can control the disease to where you don't anyways. That's that. I got on that night, and then Mark promised to call on me in the morning, and then I got called on in the morning. And I don't really raise my hand on the two-way show too much anymore, because I got on. I don't need to be on, like, every day.
Yeah, I realized I'm too hyper for Mark, so it's like, just let others speak. Alan, this is for you, because I mean, I grew up in a vegetarian household, and eating a lot of potatoes, essentially, like nothing better than a paratha, aloo paratha, which is like a stuffed, kind of like a chalupa with potatoes. And anyways, after whatever, Dr. Sean Amara is all about the carnivore plus fermented foods. So I get these Haitian pickles, and then I got the lamb steak. So this is my 707 red food. This is my foodie account.
Have you ever had? I love Haitian food. Have you ever had griot?
Oh yeah. Wow. Okay.
That is
me.
Yeah, that's when I was a restaurant manager, a lot of my staff, because I was restaurant manager in South Florida, a lot of my staff was Haitian, and were Haitian, and they brought me griot, and I was like hooked on it. Like they always made me griot, and for some reason the Haitian fried plantains I like better than I like them better than the Hispanic fried plantains. So,
What brought you to Tallahassee?
I moved during COVID. I mean, the cost of living in South Florida was getting excessive. And then my sister moved up here, and my parents moved up here, and then my daughter was getting in a lot of trouble. My daughter was 13 at the time, and I thought she needed a change, and so I decided to move up here. And I mean, it didn't help. My daughter still got in trouble. So,
you tried,
but yeah, that was 2020 in the middle of the pandemic. Like between the pandemic and my daughter getting into trouble, and then it like just snowballing between everything. And then my daughter got diagnosed as bipolar. She was hospitalized for in and out of like inpatient treatment for like 2 years until she finally stabilized. She's 18 now. She's finally like she's stable. She had a conversation with me about the meds, and she doesn't want to be on them. And I said at first, like, like everyone talks about like the trans issue where kids are confused and things like that, and like the parents are confronted with this horrific decision of, do you want a dead daughter, do you want to, you know what I'm saying, like you get like I can sympathize with those parents on why they allow, because as a parent sometimes you say like, how could you ever like do that to your kid, like if you disagree with it. And I, like I don't agree with it, but I understand where the parents coming from, because when my daughter was, going through everything, they're like, she has to be on the meds, and and then you do research about these psychotropic medication and like all their side effects they cause. They cause all these things, and like my daughter's 18 now, and she's like, I don't want to be on the meds anymore. I was like, you don't, then if you just make sure that you do your therapy, like that's the most important component of mental disorder. Everyone's quick.
Bipolar is
You're freezing
Well,
up,
I mean-
Jackie. I don't know if you know that.
what?
You froze up there for a second. You said
Okay.
bipolar is, and then we didn't hear the rest.
Oh, I was about to say bipolar is psychiatric, so it's affected by medication, so that's still
Yeah.
important. But I mean, I understand the side effect issue because of my own experience with something else. But I think it's trial and error with the medications, and you have just to find the least damaging one and the one that's more helpful than the side of that, where it outweighs the problems, the side effects, and the benefit. That's what I decided to do with my problems with my side
Yeah, I
effects.
mean,
And
she's 18 and she could just stop taking it. I was just happy that she, she had the conversation with me, because like part of the problem during like I think the medication was necessary when she was really out of control, but like after she stabilized, she was on the medication for about 1.5 years, and then she's stable, she's got a job, she's doing good. And I talked to her, and and the therapy is really working. And I think we're too quick to medicate with anything, with all diseases, because it's a industry, anyway.
right.
I don't want to get up.
Well, with bipolar
I have a-
disorder, it's more straightforward because it's not something caused. But with things like depression, there's a lot of over medication because like that's something where you can't tell if it's based in situations part of the brain chemistry, and that gets complicated. But I don't know if that happens with bipolar disorder where there's over medicating for that.
I mean, they didn't give her like the. I mean,
Is it-
usually with bipolar, they like to give lithium out, and they didn't give her that.
Is it the kind of bipolar where you get manic, or is it just the kind where you go down?
She got manic, and then the other thing with her was that the other thing with her was like she started experimenting with marijuana very, around like 12.
That may calm her down from the mania.
No,
I-
it,
Well,
it
it's
made
like-
her even.
Was she doing sativa or indica?
12 years old, Raleigh. 12.
Listen,
Well-
I don't know what like again like I
That's too young. That's too young.
I don't have an issue with it, but like what the other thing, work because I did a lot of like therapy, combined therapy sessions. And her therapist said, some people when they use marijuana, it wires them differently. It does the exact opposite of what 99% of them. She would get manic and go into these like.
That's not
Oh yeah,
good.
no, I would. That
And then-
happened to me in
and-
Texas.
I have one more question. Does she take any stimulants like Adderall or?
They
Um,
they wanted to diagnose her with ADD, but again, I had the therapist combined with the psychiatrist she was going to. They didn't want to put her on Adderall, and I didn't want her on Adderall because that's like essentially like meth
Speed.
light,
Yeah, meth light. That's what I was
Um,
gonna say is that I would make sure she's not on that. My brother's bipolar, and whenever he would take stimulants, he would go off the deep end, and he would have an episode, and everything would happen, and then he would go back to we called it the unit, but yeah, and like I recommend she try to stay away from stimulants as much as possible, like coffee, any kind of caffeine.
again, she's good now. She's got her head on straight. So I'm more proud of the fact that she like worked herself through it. Like she knows when she's on the brink, and she'll call her therapist. She went from seeing her therapist twice a week to like once a week to once every 2 weeks, and now she sees her therapist once a month. But the therapy and like identifying the triggers and controlling the triggers, that's what I think again, I think she might have bipolar tendencies, but I don't think she's bipolar because she's been off the meds for almost a year now, and none of this behavior that she had before. And she's, her brain's starting to stabilize.
You guys have a tub?
A tub?
Yeah.
You snorkeling?
I'm serious. This was in Texas, the biggest discovery I made. Okay. It was like, first I was doing the cold soak, right? Like, cause I was doing the shrooming, the acid, all that, like, and dehydrated. And so these migraines would get intense. And then I was like, okay, I fill the tub with cold water and it go boom. And that shock and whatever. Then little by little, I'm like, wait a minute. I would get the migraine so bad. I finally figured out hot water. As hot as I could tolerate, the heat exceeded the pain of the migraine. And then on top of that, I had the bass going from the subwoofer. So I could because it was so bad, and I would put it against the side of the tub, and that bass vibration was like, you don't know, man, how bad it was. And then the snorkel allowed me to be like dead man's pose, upside down, right? And you could just breathe. And next thing you know, you pass out. An hour might go by, and it was the wildest thing, I was like, tub therapy, poor man's isolation chamber, because sorry, Joe Rogan, we can't afford that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear all that, Alan, but that's a remarkable story. That it sounds like you had a really.
I find it weird that people pay for.
Oh, keep going, Jackie.
I find it weird that people pay for isolation chambers because I just think you're literally paying to just be in the dark and feel nothing.
See, that's my part of my beef with Joe Rogan. It's like, I mean, there's a lot of, I'm sure we all have our beefs with all these media personalities, but it's like they kind of overskip the obvious, and the tub soak. I've had friends that have taken out their tubs. I'm like, why did you do that? And that was so important for my mom. When I got her out of the ER hospital, AMA, it was a bad guy. She had dementia. She was not speaking English anymore. Whatever, I should be very careful what I'm sharing live, right? But it's important for people to learn from this experience, you know? And when I brought her that night, she slept well, but the next morning, her cramping came back, diverticulitis. And my dad was like, you should have left her in the hospital. Like, basically, you messed up. And I had a freak out moment. But then I said, no. I'm going to fill the tub, hot water, Epsom salt. I'll post the recipe from Sally Norton, Better Low Op. Where's her book? And my mom, once that heat hit above that pain area in the stomach, she was like, oh, okay. Playing the music. And then she just wrote out the pain, kind of like released the pain in the water. And then, you know, day went by as normal. And that was it. Finally, you're getting a full night's rest in your own bed. There's no way a hospital room could ever duplicate that. And the nursing aides, now they're so regulated, they won't even let you go to the bathroom. They're just like, oh, go in your diaper. And it's such a lack of dignity. I can't say that enough. So anyways, thanks for letting me share that story.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, Alan, your story, it's very I don't know. I feel like you should write a book about it or something. It's kind of got hillbilly elegy vibes.
Yeah,
Well, not in that sense, but
yeah. I mean, I'm again, like, you know, since the heart surgery, I've been like trying to like figure out like my purpose again. I should start writing about, you know, things like that. I mean, it's not like you know, she's the vice president of the United States, you know what I'm saying? But
no, but we all went through the pandemic, and in different ways, it had effects on all of us. And I feel like every one of us changed during the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic. We're all, you know, to the extent that people can change, we're all different people. And like your story, like if I read it, like it would be inspiring to me because of the challenges. You've faced a lot more challenges than I did during the pandemic.
Yeah,
I mean, you're skipping the obvious. Alan needs to start up his YouTube channel.
I wouldn't know the first way to start this. Like, I don't even. I mean,
Zoom free.
know how to watch
you can't live stream with that, I guess.
I know how to watch YouTube. But no, I mean, I like when I was at dinner with my sister today. I was like right before the pandemic started. Like it was like I think it was like February 7th, 2020. I think it was a Sunday. My memory's foggy, so. But I got my daughter loved the Impractical Jokers. They were on tour. I got tickets to go see their show. It was at the Sunrise, where the Florida Panthers play, and across the street was Texas de Brazil. We loved going there. It was like my happy memory. Like it was such a happy memory. We went to see them. You know, we had dinner, went to see Impractical Jokers. I laughed my butt off. They were so funny. And that was like February 7th. And then like 2 days later, I'm picking my daughter up from school, and that's when the trouble started. She got in trouble in school and almost got expelled. She got like a 4-week suspension while they were investigating whether they were going to expel her or not. And then she was like doing all her schoolwork at home. It was like pre-pandemic before. And, you know, in the background, like there's this mysterious virus going around. So like finally it's the end of February, we get our hearing. I basically, you know, negotiated like Trump, you know, took no shit from the from the assistant principal who was like, "Oh, well, we're gonna test the pens we found that your daughter had to see if they're marijuana." I'm like, "Okay, go ahead, test them." They're like, we're gonna take police. I was like, "Do it. I don't care." I played chicken with this principal, and she essentially reinstated my daughter and put her back in regular school and not the. And anyways, so that's the end of February. She gets to go back to school, goes back to school for 2 days, and then they send all the kids home because of the pandemic. And then, then she was sneaking out. She stole a car, like all this stuff. Like, but we lived in Florida, so like it wasn't as, it wasn't as draconian as other states as far as like, being stuck.
That's also that was tough because
But
it's like,
everyone's got their like stories from COVID, and all I can say is like, I'm never putting on a mask. I'm never following a lockdown. I don't,
Alan, there was one guy. So George Webb, real George Webb, One Addy Ads. I should put them up on the screen, but whatever. And along with them was this like kind of skull and bones researcher. He was like a finance guy. And during COVID, especially with all the Twitter censorship, I remember he posted, he's like, if 40 of us just walk into Walmart without a mask, what are they going to do? And like, for me, it was such a moment of hope that someone was willing to like say that. I felt so, because I remember there was a point where there was a Fresno ER, or it's not an ER, but some sort of clinic. And they're like, dude, we've done the numbers. We're past herd immunity. There was like, it's like, dude, we're over the hump sort of thing. And yeah, and then earlier I was going off about Australia, right? They put people in camps, right? I mean, like,
I don't think people are gonna, like, anyone, whether they're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, I don't think anyone's gonna honor any like overreach on our individual liberties again.
No, that's done.
Because we thought we were, again, like, everyone's got their own opinion on this, but like we thought we were doing the right thing to get through this, to do its best. And we found out that the government, like, we ceded our rights to the government thinking they would do the right thing by us, and they didn't. A majority of them, they took advantage. They kept the lockdown going longer than it had to. And both Democrats and Republicans are guilty of having a hand in it. But I don't know. Again, like, if there's another pandemic, go with nature, herd immunity. It happens, and I'm not locking down. I'm not six. They made up 6 feet. Like, all everything we know now is like. Anyways, I don't want to go. Like, this is such a rabbit hole with COVID.
That was another low when my mom, my family was visiting, and my brother-in-law was standing next to me. We were on the outdoors on the garage. My mom's like, 6 feet. I was just, anyways. That's
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what y'all are saying. Like, I've been saying that. I said that to a friend of mine like a year and a half ago. I said, if it comes back, I'm not isolating. I'm just not doing it. I'm just going to continue living my life like I lived it before the pandemic came, and I'm not changing my behavior. And he goes, he's like, it was weird about it. He was like, so you're just going to, I forgot what his response was, but he acted like, that was just crazy. But it was like, no, I'm not doing that again. I'm not social isolating. I'm not staying locked up. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Alan. I'm not doing that again. I'm not. I feel like I was fooled, like I was, yeah, I feel like they just lied to me, and they took advantage, and I feel violated, I guess is the word, in a certain way. Like, and like you were saying, at the time I thought I was doing everything right. And I trusted them, and I feel like that was very naive.
And I don't know. I mean, what the like to sort of shift gears. Has anyone watched The Apprentice on Amazon? Like,
I watched it when it came out many years ago on NBC.
I highly like whether you like or dislike Donald Trump. I think it's like something everyone should watch because it gives you an insight that it gives you a lot of insight into his decision-making skills. I don't know. I've been binge watching it on Amazon, and it's fascinating.
I don't know if that's really who he is or if that's just kind of a different version of him. Because there have been people who worked on that show who said that he's so much of what he's so edited out, and any reality show is often partly scripted, anyways.
Yeah, because we were talking about reality TV, I think, like 15 minutes ago about like, are we reality TV? I think I mean, everything. I don't think it's exactly who it is, but like,
Hey, look, it's my mom, guys.
Hi.
Hello, Mom.
I just finished cooking.
Oh, that's nice.
So she's like, what are you doing? How come you were late? You were taking a shower? I said, no, we're on TV. We're doing TV, America's Talk Show.
Oh, wow.
All right. Okay.
Maybe next time I will be prepared better.
Hey, there we go.
Okay.
All right.
But I don't know. I've gained insight, and I highly recommend like at least watching a couple of. I mean, you said you had watched it back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Back when.
Occasionally, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I watched 2 episodes of it in like 2002.
You know, it's funny, you couldn't stream it when he was the president. There was no place to stream it. Like over the past 4 years. Like it was like, I guess it was probably shadow banned or something, But
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think, he I don't know, with the tariffs and everything that's going on, like it gives insight into things, and it's just an observation. I love reality TV too. I'm like, that's like my vice. I love Survivor, Big Brother, not Big Brother. That's a bit boring, but Survivor, The Challenge, Traders, Deal or No Deal Island. I love those types.
What about Deadliest Catch?
That's like that's reality. That's like I'm talking about like reality competition shows, but I do like Deadliest Catch. That's fun to watch too. But like I'm like addicted to the reality strategy games where and the physical competition too. So my dream is to be on Survivor one day, but
we gotta support that dream. We gotta get you to write this book. You gotta go on Survivor. We gotta get this going, Alan.
Alan, what about Alone? Are you in Alone? Are you in
No, that's like, I like interacting with people. I like socializing. I like seeing other people's perspective. I mean, I love strategy games. I love strategy. So like, Survivor to me is like mix of physical strategy, socialization. So that's
The only reality show I really got into, I think, is Project Runway, but that's actually pretty boring if you don't like fashion. And I don't like dressing up, but I do like seeing designs and the creative process. And then I watched this one there's a weird reality show where they would create gallery art that was just like one of the art pieces was a rock on a string, on a metal string that and they started talking about overanalyzing this rock suspended in the air. And I just thought, because to me, sometimes I'll just watch something and think, and get entertainment from hating it, from just thinking, what am I watching?
I think we've all been guilty of that.
Are we talking about doom scrolling? That's what they call it, right?
I've doom scrolled Twitter and gone down rabbit holes. Or X now, but I stopped myself from doing that now.
Okay, now I can share you guys my fun side.
I actually have to go because I have work in the morning. But it was great talking with you, Alan and Jackie.
Yeah, I actually got to get going too. So,
Okay,
right.
I'll get going too then. Everyone's busy.
We'll wrap it up. This is
See you later. Bye.
guys.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Sorry. Thanks for messaging me.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.